What if there was a way to make you ride your e-bike at a higher quality by just making a few adjustments? And not only that, it made you a lot safer at the same time. Well, stick around and let's explore a way of doing just that. Well, welcome back to the channel, Internet. You know, 40 years ago when I was racing off-road motorcycles, we always covered our front brake with 2 fingers. Of course, back then, disc brakes were just being experimented with, and even them were not real good. But now, with the hydraulic disc brakes that we have, honestly, stopping only takes 1 finger. And that's how I've been riding my bike. But you know, it's always been pretty uncomfortable, and I thought there's got to be a better way. So a little investigating, and I found out exactly what it was. If you move your brake levers onto the inside of the bike, now all of a sudden, your first finger can ride on that brake lever the entire time and be perfectly comfortable, and you got some great stopping power anyway. And when you're riding trails like this right here, you absolutely need to have that operating that way. You never know when you're going to need your brakes. But what about some other areas? How many times have you found yourself just turning around on a somewhat narrow path, and all of a sudden that pedal assist kicks in and it about launches you right into the weeds? I know it happened to me quite a bit when I first got started, but there's a way to avoid that as well. You see, the majority of e-bikes now have brake cutoff switches. So if you're used to riding with that finger on the brake, you can just feather it in a little bit, cut the power to the motor, but not engage the brakes. So not only do you have more control over your stopping power, it actually gives you better control when you're moving out with the motor, just by doing this as well. So let's take a look what I went through to do this on my custom-built Trek Marlin 7. So with the original red bars, the brake lever would have to be mounted right in this curve area here, and that's just not going to work. So we went back to the straighter bars. Also, you've got this whole area here that is really not able to accept anything mounted to it. Hence why we ended up with a handlebar extender on this one, which is a good option, but we did want to keep them brake levers coming way to the inside. So we went with the straighter bars for this application, and we're going to see how that all works out. So this is where we've got to so far. We've got the bars changed. We got the basic components where they're going to be. There was a few unexpected little twists in here that, well, I guess the unexpected should be expected. We still got to, you know, take care of all this cable management up here, and we have to probably reroute the light a little bit. But for the most part, it's just going to be a matter of wrapping it up and adjusting everything up, making sure we're good to go on that. I did notice when I went over to, when the battery actually went out on the camera, I went over and looked at it and it got shifted. And so it was just kind of taking a picture of the wall. But I'm not going to go back and redo it just to get the film of it, because there was a little more hassle there than what I was really anticipating there would be. We do have to make one adjustment here. The shift lever is too far in. We should have had that reversed with the throttle. That would have made things a lot easier, and it appears like it can fit with no problem. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, which means I have to unwrap all my good handiwork there. Just a real quick rundown. We've got, coming from the right to the left, looking from the front here, we've got the throttle, then the shifter, then the brake. Brake is set way out to where just 1 finger operates it. Then we've got one of our accessory lights. We have our stock Bafang light that runs off of the battery. We have our GoPro camera mount, then our other accessory light. We then have our other brake lever, our bell, our control module, and finally, we have our mirror. Okay guys, so this is it.
This is the new setup with the handlebars. The major reason that I did this is so that I have one finger only on the brakes, covering each brake. We've got everything on these ones. We moved the throttle over to this side over here, and the shift lever is moved in further, so it's just my thumb. Nothing else gets in there. The brake is on the inside of that. We've got both of our lights on the bars, and they're actually ever so slightly tipped to the outside. But I went out, I guess about maybe 4 o'clock this morning. I took a little ride, and I was shocked at how much better the lights actually worked with them being tipped just a hair to the outside. So that was a little bonus that we got. And of course, we've got our GoPro mount. You guys all know I like the GoPro hooked up to the handlebar more than I do to myself. And next over, we have our bell. That's well within reach. And then we have our control module over here. And of course, our front brake is way to the inside. We have our mirror on the outside, of course. And that pretty much takes care of it. I've got to be a little bit careful because one of the reasons a lot of these bikes are sold with cruiser bars, because you can lean on these bars and that can kink your neck pretty bad. And so you got to be cautious not to do that. The red bars that I had, they had a little bit of a rise in them, so I was more up here with them, and that kind of helps prevent that. But I also cut them down narrower. They were about in like this, and because of that, where they started to curve down is right where the brake levers would have had to bend in order to do that. And so we're going to try this right here out. I like the fact of everything being attached to it, and so that's, you know, like I said, that's a definite bonus in my book. But as a worst case scenario, I can get another set of those bars and not cut them down, so I could still be up here, but I would be just a little wider than the red bars that I had on. Now, there was one nice thing about those other bars. It's going to be a little silly, I think, coming from me, but they were pretty stylish with that red and the view from the camera. I really like that. It looked pretty cool. And these ones don't seem to have that cool factor to them. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. So from right here in sunny North Carolina, we'll let all you folks know, stay safe, God bless, and keep the wheels rolling. One more time, we're out.